Hello and welcome to the Silver Lining, our weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during the week. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you're comfortable calling me, and welcome to you, my co-host, to chat. Always a terrific time having everybody here, but I think with the weather, we're going to be super light today. It's I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but where I am, it's like 85 degrees and it's nice. I think it's supposed to rain later here, but for right now it is a fantastic day, so I think everybody's outside, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be streaming to nobody today. Not a problem though, not a problem. I like to ramble anyway. Now I can ramble and not have to worry about people being upset sitting in their living rooms or sitting on their phones thinking, this freaking guy, man. Latimer's here. Hello, Latimer. What is going on? I don't know if you were here for that entire rant, but it's gonna be light today. I think John might be streaming, which is always sort of a hiccup for us. Not a hiccup. I don't mean for it to sound like he's screwing everything up. But you know, we have very similar fan bases, so he's not streaming right now though. I'm a little surprised by that. But I suspect it's going to be a very, very light day. But hello, hi Latimer, how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay in these difficult times. Getting by with with our wits. Our wits are in our not really cleverness, but our ability to survive the unsurvivable, the human, the most natural human instinct, which is to survive. Hopefully that's getting you through everything. It's kind of getting me through. I'll be honest, it's starting to get a little difficult. But I'm not. But I had an okay day today. Hey, Hero Hyrule. I had an okay day today. I don't have the container here. I had Chinese food. I drove past the Chinese food place that I always order from, and they were open. You have to call and pre-order. They're not delivering it. Like, it's only you call and then you pick up. Like, they're not delivering. You can't order on the spot. There's even a sign on the door that says please no walk up orders, which is always funny to me. Like, no walk up orders. Like, so I could stand 5 feet from the front door and call you on my phone and place an order, but I can't stand in front of you with like plexiglass in front, and you know what I mean. Like, they have a whole setup so that you don't. They don't normally have a setup, but they've got something set up now for it, and like, I can't stand there and order food. I would have to go and get on my phone. I could literally be standing right in front of the window where you are, talking on my phone, ordering food. Greg Stream Machine, go brrr. That's Perez. That sounds more like what I do after too much Chinese food. That's what my ass does. Brrr. Warm, comfy, and full of chicken. I'm good enough. Yeah, Latimer. That's like and Rami. What's going on, Dragoon Perez? That's sort of what we can muster now, right? Like, good enough. That's kind of what it has to be. I know that, I think things are starting to open back up in certain places. I know that they were talking about May 15th. Some things were going to start opening, and I don't know. I'm still skeptical about opening that early. I mean, let's hope we're wrong. Like, for everybody that's like, they don't want to open yet, or they, if things open, they're not going to go anywhere. Let's hope we're wrong. This is definitely one of those situations where if we're right, we're screwed. So hopefully we're wrong. Hopefully everything opens back up and they say, okay, we had a few extra cases, but there's nothing serious. People are being responsible, which they're not going to be responsible. But, let's hope everything's going okay. And then it actually goes okay. Like, that would be great. But, I sincerely don't think that's going to happen. You order and then you're pressing your face against the glass. Yeah, like, I'm here for my order. Like, you're literally on the phone with them. Like, yeah, I want to get a quart of beef fried rice and 4 chicken wings and a can of Coke. Like, okay, that'll be like 20 minutes. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm here. Just right up in front. Hey, don't mind me just playing Project Diva. Dragoon, that's so funny. That's so funny that you say that. Hopefully you're listening to this and you're not listening to Project Diva right now, which you probably are. I remember seeing a thing about the controller. Hori, I think, was selling the Project Diva controller, which was this big controller with the 4 buttons on it, and then the sliding thing up top, which a channel I watch, Nihongo Gamer, he did a video on that controller. So I was looking at it and I'm like, I used to love rhythm games, but I never really got into them in the arcade. And I'm ass at rhythm games. Like, I'm so bad at them. Look them in the face and call them. Yeah, like, I'm so bad at rhythm games. So, not the worst, but definitely, like, I'm very, very much not those people at the arcade that are like, and you're standing there going, and me, like, the game My, which is like the big circle screen with the buttons around it, and you're supposed to, but it's like a touch screen so you can slide and stuff. Like, I watch people play that game, and it's like, they're doing this, they're all over the place, and I play it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I do a song a bunch of times, and I get into a rhythm. But even then, I'm like, Project Diva looked interesting, and I just saw that I think it's brand new on the Switch. So no Dance Dance. Rami, Dance Dance Revolution would require a sense of rhythm, which I don't have, and the physicality to perform the dances, which I don't have. Yeah, I'll be honest though, Rami. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest. This is straight up. I have never actually played DDR. I have never gotten onto the machine and did any of that stuff. I've never done any of it. And the reason I've never done any of it is because I have never, ever found one of those, even when it was popular, right? Like, even when DDR machines were everywhere, pump it up machines were everywhere. I have never found one that wasn't being played and had a bunch of people around it. And I'm too embarrassed to be awful at it in front of other people. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be awful at it. And then I'm going to get a little bit better, but I'm never going to be great at that game. I'm fully aware of who I am and my physicality and what I am and am not capable of. When it comes to that in particular, I'm never going to be great. So it's not going to be one of those things like a fighting game. Like a fighting game, I can stand around a crowd of people, and or step up to the machine with a crowd of people around me, and play a brand new fighting game that I've never played before, because I'm fairly competent at fighting games. So I know that when I put in enough effort, I'm going to be able to pull off some cool moves. I may be able to win a few matches. Who knows? So I'm not embarrassed to play that brand new in front of a crowd of people, even if that crowd of people is like they're pros at the game. I have no problem with it because I know that I can improve. Things like DDR, like even My, I kind of improved at My. I'm not playing like the bottom tier songs with like on super easy or anything, but I'm okay to play that game in front of people. DDR, pump it up, all that stuff. I don't. Not to mention, I'm a big guy. I'm super self-conscious about my gut bouncing all over the place when I jump around. But even when that wasn't the case, when I didn't have a big gut, I was still too super nervous to play that in front of people. Just launched today. It helps. I did band, so I keep beat pretty well. Okay. See, I Dragoon, I have lofty hopes of playing an instrument. And I have tried to play multiple instruments, and I think I just don't have the discipline for it. These days, I'm too scared to try a DDR machine in case I break it. Yeah, I'm a little bit bigger, so I'm always sort of nervous about that. But I feel like those machines are pretty sturdy, But my concern is just that, yeah, it's like I went to when I won the arcade stick. When I went to go to, I wanted to get to the arcade like super early because they have DDR, like an actual DDR. There were like 5 people. It was 10:30 in the morning on a weekday. There were 5 people around the machine already playing it, like because I honestly thought that. I honestly thought, okay, if I get there, maybe nobody's there. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the day that I finally give it a try. And yeah, I got there and there's 5 people on the machine. I'm like, okay, this ain't the day. Play trumpet? What's trumpet? I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to find that game because, you know, obviously arcades are closed now. But when I was going to round 1, I didn't even see. They didn't have trumpet there. They had Project Diva. They actually had a Project Diva. They had that one game. We talked about it before, where you move your whole body, like you slide on the floor. Like sometimes the line would be like, there'll be lines like coming towards you. There'll be lines like this. Like going like this, and what you're supposed to do is step your foot down and then slide your foot. So it was like a whole. I think it moved. I don't know if it tracked your hands also, but it was tracking your feet, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I might be into something like that. Also, how many songs does one credit get you guys? I think for my mind it's 3 songs, and then for DDR, I want to say it was like 3 or 4. I remember seeing people step up there, and they were there for a little bit. Alto sax all through high school. Oh, okay, yeah. I wanted to play guitar. I didn't put a lot of effort into the guitar. I'll give you that much. I put more effort into the violin than anything else, and this is like within guitar was a while ago. Violin, ukulele, and a little tiny bit of piano. Is within like the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know. I just don't have the discipline necessary to play. And maybe I'm playing the wrong instrument. I know that the piano, you know, an 88 key piano is pretty big, but like I don't have that. So I was using a smaller key. I was actually using the NES Miracle Piano, because that's just the NES Miracle Piano is just a keyboard. It's just a keyboard, but it has a MIDI out that you can put into your system, and then that's how the system gets your responses. But it has a speaker on it, so it makes its own sound effects and everything. And then I bought a violin, which I still have it. I bought a violin like a kit, like the case, the violin, everything. And then so like the ukulele I bought. And I bought it for $2, right? I was at a passing a yard sale, and there were these cute kids, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're selling stuff." It's all like, okay. So I got the ukulele, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's a little toy ukulele. I'll pretend to play it and put it down. When I picked it up, it seems like a relatively legit ukulele. Like it's definitely not, like I don't know if instrument quality is the right word, but like it's definitely heavy duty. So I gave it a shot, and I'm like, oh, I learned the chords, and I learned all of the strings, and I learned a couple of the chords, and it was great. It's very difficult. I think the problem is that, for me anyway, it's a little too small, because it is a soprano ukulele, which I think is the smallest one. So I was actually looking into something like a tenor ukulele, which is slightly with a little bit larger. I think there's like 4 sizes of ukuleles from small to large, and then I think the second largest, I think, is the tenor ukulele. That I held one of those, and I was like, oh, could I go to the music store, and they have a bunch of music instruments. I checked out one of those. I was like, okay, this actually doesn't feel too bad. This might actually be something a little bit more my speed. But I never went back. And then they're like $150. It's tough to spend $150 on something that, based on my history, I'm probably going to put down at some point. And I say that sitting in front of a wall of video games. But hey, Ryan, Marcos, everybody who I may have not had said hello to, what's going on? My issue with DDR is that when I played it, it would generally move forward on the mat. And okay, yeah. You know what, Hero? That's when I see the guys that are playing it, because it's always guys. I've never seen girls do this. It's always guys that there's the railing in behind you, and then they hang onto the railing, and then they just move their feet, right? Like they don't move their bodies. It's always guys that do that. Oh, you were talking about instruments, play the trumpet. Oh, I never had any real interest. You know what, Perez? I never had a whole lot of interest in music that features the trumpet. So I never had a lot of interest in that sound. I've always been interested in guitar. That's always something that I was interested in as a kid. Piano, I love piano. I can piano and violin, especially combo. Like when you combine them, I think it's fantastic. Yes, I have seen your lie in April. Uh, ukulele, I like just because it's a very fun, light-hearted kind of sound. And the cello. The cello's probably the last instrument. Like if I come across a cello for $50, which is not gonna happen, that's probably the last goofy instrument that I'll try, and then put down. I heard the violin's a bit. The violin is not bad. There's a lot more to playing the violin than even I thought, and I knew that playing the violin was complicated. String instruments are weak unless you can blow out someone's ears with just your lungs and some metal, and your instrument doesn't count. Well, Perez, if it counts, a lot of people who play the violin go deaf in their left ear because they play like this, and the sound is right here. Especially when you start hitting those E, like the super high E sound. There are people that have. It's like notoriously. In the violin community, that a lot of the pros, the people that are like masters, they're deaf in their left ear because that's where the sound comes from, and the sound can get very, very loud and like resonate very strong. I'm teaching myself to play piano, but I wish I could get guitar lessons and a guitar. That may be uncle. Finding the instrument is half the battle. When you find the right one, it feels so right. I could play a mean triangle. I mean, I used to be able to play the iPod like nobody's business. Cat Icarus is doing Wall Market. I may have to pass on this for that. Yeah, Ryan. If you want to go ahead, that's fine. Wait, hold on. I mean, high school is that great with triangle. How you feeling about WWE being in King? Okay, so Ryan, what is that? I've been seeing those pictures of like Rock Howard and The Rock and stuff. What is that? That WWE characters are going to be in a new King of Fighters game? Is that what that was? I kind of thought it was just like fan art or something. Or maybe they wrote their thesis on the triangle. Yeah, that's how you know someone's good at DDR. They use the hand. You know who's like that? Russ. Russ he's like very good DDR. I think he can play standing up, but I think I've seen him hold on to the handles, and he's a good DDR player. No ska or jazz. Perez, I like ska, but I don't follow it as a music trend. Probably if you probably name like the three most mainstream ska songs, I've probably heard those. And then I was a fan of early No Doubt, and early No Doubt actually used some trumpet, so I liked it. But I never had any interest in playing the instrument myself to make that music. I have no affiliation for tropical sounding instrument like steel drum. Oh, steel drum. I don't know why I love the steel drum, but I would never play it. But I get a kick out of it. But ukulele is something that is very, for me, the ukulele has transcended a tropical sound and become a more lighthearted, gentle sort of entertaining sort of sound. Yeah. If I hear a steel drum, I better be in the Caribbean or the Caribbean, however you want to say it. Hey, Linky, what's going on? I always love pianos and keyboards, but what got me into wanting to learn to play one was the typing skills I learned in school. Playing guitar is something that I would like to learn how to do in the future, but I don't have one. Yeah, you know what, Neon? Playing fighting games. Playing fighting games for me is like, oh, that's kind of what the piano is like, right? You gotta hit the right keys in the right order. You're using your fingers like this. You're moving your, for fighting games, obviously you're not moving your hands around that much. But there's a correlation between. We used to joke when we were like average fighting game fans, because I would play with my I would play like this, right, and then I would hit like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we first started to learn multiple fingers, that was when we would see people doing that. We would see people, like, we'd watch their hands and we'd see them like doing this, and that's how they're playing. And we would always joke like, Jesus, it's not a freaking piano. But they were always so much better than us. Yeah, see, I didn't play Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I don't know what the big deal is with Wall Market or anything like that, other than, like the Honeybee Inn and stuff. What about the trombone? No, none of those horn instruments. I got enough horn. No, never mind. I'm not even gonna go with that one. Just doing Animal Crossing stuff. Got my second story. Oh, the house. You got a second floor of the house. But what about the accordion? Never, Remy, ever have I don't think I've ever even seen an accordion in real life. I'm not kidding you. I can't remember ever actually seeing an accordion in real life. Oh, for God's sakes, this loses spam and swam. Well, I want to learn to play Stairway to Heaven on the ukulele. There you go. That's the goal right there. Now, you know what my goal has always been when it comes to music? Video game music. My goal has always been faithful recreations of video game music on certain instruments. Like I would love to hear, because then when you always hear like, oh, it's this Mega Man song, but it's on a ukulele, they always change it up, right? They always do a whole lot of stuff, and then there's like part of the elements of those songs in the song that they're making. I would always want to just do straight up, like, it sounds exactly like Cutman stage, but it's on a ukulele. Like that's the sort of thing I would love to do. I don't know much piano pieces. I don't know a whole lot of classical music as far as there are certain songs that I know. For violin, the only thing that I care to know is there's a solo. There's like one, I think it might be the first solo from Scheherazade. Oh my God, that's an amazing piece of music right there. That's the sort of thing that I would, if I was intending on getting back to the violin, I would love to learn how to play that. I love playing Megalovania on whatever instrument. Yeah, could you imagine, like, you go and it's like, hey, this guy's playing the what is it, the kalimba, or you know what I mean? Like is it calliope? What's the circus? I think calliope is the circus instrument. But then like you just do. Megalovania is an insult to music. My favorite classical song is The Planets Jupiter. I'll tell you what, we should probably play Mad Maestro one day on the stream, and we'll get some real classical music going. We'll go through the whole game. Oh, The Planets by Gustav Holst, right? Gustav Holst. I feel like that name is familiar, and I think it's because the artist, there was a painter, was he Gustav Klimt, that did like the Kiss? I think that's what I'm getting mixed up with. One classical piece from Assured Rap. That's how we know all of our music, right? That's how all of us know classical music for the most part, is from like TV commercials and cartoons. The saxophone would be another cool instrument to learn how to play, but playing brass-like instruments sounds taxing. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Plus, they're expensive. Plus, they're super expensive. You know, I got my violin for $50, and it's. I bought new strings for it, but it's blatantly a starter violin. You know, I bought my ukulele for $2. Mario Galaxy takes so many cues from Mars. It's so good. Okay. Why don't we get into this series of topics? We have a permission to post it. Go right ahead. We have a weird array of topics today. Very, very strange, because they are all kind of the same thing. I was going to save this one for last, but let's be honest, it's the big one. We're going to talk about it probably a lot. So let's get into it. Paper Mario and the Origami Killer. Which I make that joke only because if I don't make that joke, I'm going to keep doing it by accident anyway. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, all three of these trailers dropped. It's this massive info dump of games, and the first one that is probably the biggest one was Paper Mario and the Origami King. Now, for a lot of us big Paper Mario fans, it came out of the blue for everybody, but unless I wasn't paying attention, I don't remember there being any rumors of a new Paper Mario game. You know, oh, excuse me. You know, we always talk about when are they gonna, remaster Thousand Year Door, and I have argued that I don't need a remaster. I just need I need a little bit of a remaster. but I just need a trilogy of them on the Switch. You know, I'd pay $60 for Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door, and Super Paper Mario all on one cartridge. I would absolutely pay for that. So this game really came out of nowhere. Like, I hope Arlo's okay. I know Arlo did a video about this. I'm sure he passed out when he first heard about it. Hey, Mr. Sonic. It looks. I was gonna play it here. I figured everybody's seen it already, so hopefully everybody has seen it. If not, I got a couple of images that I wanted to share from it. It looks good. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic, which is who said that? Perez said that. Yes, I'm cautiously optimistic. I am on the side of this is going to be a good game, but there are still things that I want to see. I did have a few issues that have since been answered. So I'm actually kind of happy about, or not totally answered, but there's evidence of their condition being in a positive way, which we'll talk about. I hate to have to be the cynic, but people are really overblowing their hype and assuming it's a return. No, Ryan. I'm very cautious about what I'm going to see. Like I said, there are a few elements that I would like to see return, and there are a few things that I'd like to see gone, and there is evidence that these things are going the way I want them to go. So we'll talk about some of those. First, the graphics. I think the graphics look great, but honestly, you know, with video compression, for all we know, it looks better than that. That being said, I think it looks fine. I'm happy that they are sticking with the hard paper aesthetic, where the entire world is built with paper. That to me is a wild argument. When there was somebody on Twitter today that was arguing about that, saying that they hated the paper aesthetic. And it's like, okay, but I don't understand. Like, you came into Paper Mario. Paper Mario has had a paper aesthetic from almost the beginning, but why would you even be playing it if you don't like the paper aesthetic in a game called Paper Mario about paper characters that live in a paper world? Like, I don't get that. That's the sort of thing that when I hear arguments like that, that's the sort of thing where I start to think, so you just want to hate it. Like, that's it. Like, there's no, like if I were to play a Sonic game, and, you know, Sonic is a very sort of divisive kind of situation with those games. If I were to play a Sonic game and say, yeah, this is fine, but I don't understand why he has to run so fast, then what the hell are you doing playing a Sonic game? So when I hear the Paper Mario game is fine, it's just, why is everything made of paper? Like, all right, I mean, I don't really know what you want as an answer for that. It's just is. That is the way it is. If it wasn't made of paper, I could easily say, why isn't everything made of paper? I think it's more they overdo it in the paper stuff. Paper puns, lots of visual gags involving paper. I'd say I don't think that it's I don't know. I don't think that it's overblown. Here's a question. I would love to ask the developers of Paper Mario 64 and even Thousand Year Door to an extent. I would love to ask them, if you had the capabilities of doing a hard paper aesthetic for everything in the game from the beginning, would you do it? Because Color Splash was gorgeous. I thought Color Splash was visually an amazing game. I love the paper aesthetic. It is a little weird that they make a lot of paper jokes. Like, there are moments where I'm just kind of like, all right, why don't you just be paper? Like, I'm made of flesh. I don't make a lot of flesh jokes. So the fact that you're made of paper and you're making a lot of paper jokes is a little strange, but it's for us. It's made for us to be entertaining. So I get it. And it do make me laugh. I mean, Paper Mario wasn't called Paper Mario in Japan. That's a good point. That's probably the best point on that, is that it wasn't actually called Paper Mario anywhere but here. I don't know what it was in the UK. It wasn't meant to look like a picture book, not specific. It was meant to look like a picture book, not specifically paper, at least for Mario 64 anyway. And I wonder though, I always wonder when it comes to the aesthetics of older games, how much of that was because they couldn't. Like, I wonder if at any point they said, "Oh, we're gonna do everything paper," and then they were like, "Okay, technically, it's not very easy, so we'll just do Mario and the characters as paper." Europe was the same as America. Also, hello. What's going on, Nitro? Fleshlight. Yeah, I do. You know what, Hawk? I say that, and I do make a lot of flesh jokes. So yeah, so the aesthetic looks great. The graphics look fine, but I would need to see it in person before I make a final call on that, because it may be 60 frames per second and it runs terribly. So when it comes to that, that's where I would say, okay, let me hold off on that. Just ultimately, I think the criticism is just a mix of not liking the aesthetic in general, on top of the game's overdoing it with the joke. See, and the funny thing is, Ryan, I've never heard anybody complain about the jokes, just the aesthetic as a visual. So I don't know. It's just a weird argument to me. It's hard for me to get in the head and in the mindset of a person who thinks that way about a series that has been that way for a while. And that's the thing. If you don't like the paper aesthetic, you probably should have been out of the series several games ago. The paper world aesthetic has been pretty much since Thousand Year Door, when they started adding the, Mario can fold into different characters and stuff. And that to me was like when they really started to like, oh, we're going to do more with this paper stuff. I'm just personally tired of Nintendo playing arts and crafts with their games instead of that. The arts and crafts thing is a little weird. The Yoshi stuff, and I don't know, it's a little weird. I think you may be right. Look at how Thousand Year Door pushed the paper. Yeah, but Thousand Year Door, when as the games got progressed, and that might just be a coincidence. That could very easily just be a coincidence. But as the games got stronger, and as there was more power to them and more ability for the developers, the paper aesthetic got more and more and more. And again, that could just be, well, the GameCube has more power. Why don't we do this? The Wii has more power. Why don't we do this? Actually, the Wii, when I think about it, the Wii didn't push the paper aesthetic as much. The Wii, see, here's the thing. The Wii game pushed the 2D, 3D plane a lot, right? But it wasn't really that they were made of paper. It's just that they were flat. They could have been cardboard. They could have been planks of wood. But it was more about the fact that the game was 2D, and then you'd flip it to 3D and get a whole different perspective on the world. That's interesting. I never really considered that. It's probably just probably just someone who probably wanted another Mario and Luigi game more than a Paper Mario game. But still, if you could critique anything about the trailer, why is your first response to paper aesthetic? Yeah, it just seems weird to me. I never cared for Paper Mario and have never played one. Yet when I see this trailer, I became excited. From an outside perspective, it looks fun and seems to have an interesting story. So I'm planning on getting it. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely getting it. I'll pre-order it tomorrow if I have to. Paper Mario basically didn't do it. Paper Mario basically didn't do it at all. Yeah, because and again, I think maybe it was just the earliest one. I don't know. Thousand Year Door did a few things, but mostly just moving around and really without really joking about it. Super didn't do anything at all. Super was, like I said, Super was about everything being flat as opposed to about everything being made of paper. Sticker Star was hard into the paper aesthetic. I don't know about Paper Jam. I know everybody tells me that Paper Jam was more of a Mario and Luigi game than it was a Paper Mario game. So I'm going to assume that it didn't do much of that at all. And then obviously Color Splash went hard into the paper aesthetic. Well, I guess both, right? I think people just associate the HD Paper Mario with not RPG Paper Mario. Yeah, I guess that's what that was the big problem with Super Paper Mario, was that everybody was incredibly upset that it wasn't really an RPG. It was more like a platformer. It's like, but it's still a good game. Is it bad that Color Splash was my first Paper Mario? Color Splash was not an awful game. I'll be honest. If you start with Color Splash and then go to like 64 and Thousand Year Door, you'll be improving every step. Don't play. I rarely tell people don't play a game, But I can tell you, if you already played Color Splash, and if you are planning on playing 64 and Thousand Year Door next, I would say don't bother with Color Splash. It's not really a waste. It's not really worth the waste of money. It was not a great game. You're most likely not, especially if you've already played those other ones, you're not going to probably go back and play it again. Super was okay. It's nothing too terribly interesting though. It's fun. Yeah, I liked it. I thought Super was getting it, but I was easy to accept that Super was not really an RPG. It was an action adventure game more than anything else. And once you accept that, it's a fine game. The problem is it's called Paper Mario, and people wanted an RPG, and they were all pissed off about it. Color Splash is a generically bad game, right? See, I like Color Splash. I thought Color Splash was. I thought again aesthetically it was gorgeous. I love the paper aesthetic. Like I love that they went hard into the paper aesthetic. I like the combat system to an extent. I hate item-based combat, but it felt like there was a. I mean, we've had that conversation 1,000 times, but you know, I liked it. I thought it was okay. It got tedious at times, but I didn't outright hate it. I never knew about the disdain of Sticker Star, but it didn't. Yeah, Sticker Star was kind of had some. Sticker Star had some significantly bad fundamentals, and when you start to really accept those, you're kind of like, you stop having a good time. Like I finished Sticker Star because I was already deep into it, and I just had to finish it. Do you say that as a game uncle, or because it's a Wii? It's a what? Wii I game, and oh wait, hold on. It's a Wii. Oh, it's a Wii 1 game. And you have to have your Wii U to play. No, wait, what do you mean? Which game? No, Sticker Star. Sticker Star was a 3DS game, or 3DS or DS. I think it was 3DS. Yeah, Sticker Star. I would say to skip that. No, Super Paper Mario I thought was great. That's the one on the Wii. I thought that was fine. I thought it was a terrific game. Again, it's not the RPG that everybody's used to. I just think aside from the visual, Color Splash kept bad gameplay design, especially for battles, and made progression feel tiresome and not fulfilling like a turn-based game it's still trying to be. Better writing better writing didn't improve the game. Ryan, we can get into that in a different time, because that's a big extensive topic. But yeah, I had some serious fundamental problems with Color Splash as far as the combat went. I think I've beaten it in everybody's head that I am not a huge fan of item-based combat. I did not like the Wii U gamepad and having to look away from the screen in order to pick my moves. I hate that. I thought that the originality of the characters was weak. You know, some of the jokes were fine and they hit really well, and but there was a lot wrong with it. If I may ask, what did Thousand Year Door do that made it well received? Paper Mario 64 was a terrific game. It had a fantastic combat system, and everything looked very, very nice and bright and colorful, and it was interesting. Thousand Year Door did everything but a little bit better. That being said, I'm still somebody who prefers 64 over Thousand Year Door, but Thousand Year Door didn't really remove anything, but it did everything in a better way. It was what you want to see in a sequel. You don't want them to remove the things that you like. You want them to build on it. You want them to add more things, better characters, better environments. Thousand Year Door did all of that exactly. And that's what made it such a great sequel. That's also why Super Paper Mario hurt everybody's feelings, because it was not a turn-based RPG at all, and people got very upset. Yeah, you're right, Ryan. That's exactly it. 64 is more easily replayable. with Thousand Year Door is a better game, with one exception. I will add one caveat to that. The stylish extra hits when you hit them with the hammer and you hit the button and they do stylish and they backflip and they fill your meter. I wish that was in 64. But other than that, everything is fine. I noticed you said Origami Killer. Got heavy rain on the mind. I just thought it was funny. Color Splash was a good game. It reviewed well. It reviewed. Color Splash reviewed like mediocre. There were some people at first who were like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" And then when people got a chance to really play it, there were a lot of people who were like, "I don't know." Yeah, I think people were just happy that it wasn't Sticker Star completely. Okay, we're gonna keep talking about this, but I think I've got this working, right? So we're gonna try something here. I think I've got this working. There were two things that I wanted to talk about with Paper Mario and the Origami Killer. Coming for you, Scott Shelby. Number one was the battle rotation. So let's see if I've got this working properly. Open with, I think, photo gallery. Oh my god, it works. Okay. So can I move my mouse? Oh, I can put my mouse on it. So this is the battlefield. There's a little bit of a timer up here in the corner, and then there's this 1x here. I don't know what this says here. If anybody knows, you can please tell me. Mario is able to rotate this blue ring. This blue ring is actually highlighted. It's not just blue normally. He's able to rotate it and put this Goomba in line with the other ones, and then he can line up his attacks that way. You get a bonus for it or something. This is the mechanic that I'm kind of like, let's see how this plays out. Let's see. Maybe there's a way to manipulate this. Because you know what's going to happen. You're going to get enemies who move. Like, you're in line. You're going to get boss fights. You're going to get boss fights that are on one plane, but then they spawn ads that are on other planes. So you have to manage all of these different things, which puts a spin on the action. Spin. It puts a spin on the action, but it could be a mechanic that gets tedious. And that's always my biggest concern when it comes to adventure games, RPG games, is that the basic combat gets tedious. So let's see. Yeah, Marco's turn-based combat. So, yeah, it feels half-assed. It's too tedious. Yeah, and Ryan, and that's exactly it. I don't know how often this is going to happen. I don't know if there are going to be items. I mean, there's definitely going to be items that don't, or attacks that don't, that ignore all of this. So, there's probably going to be an item that's like, it's a wide blast that hits them wherever they are. But, so hopefully that's not too boring. Fingers crossed. Let's hold on. Oh god, no, let me not be just looking at. Oh, did that image not come through properly? Oh crap. Hold on, because there's other. Where's my? There we go. Oh, did that picture not? Of course, that picture didn't come through. Because why would it have? Oh, why am I in that? Hold on. I feel like a return to form is good enough. They don't need. Yeah, and that's the big problem. That's the big issue, is that they seem to have it locked into their brains that they need to do these goofy things, and it's like, if you just put basic stuff back in, you'd be fine. Sort by date. Okay. Open with photo gallery. There we go. Oh god. Okay. Yeah, just make a normal picture. Well, and that's the thing. You don't even need a new game. Do the trilogy that I keep saying. Just do the first 3 games on a cartridge. You can sell it for $60. I am never one to say that I would pay full price for old games. But those 3 games in one package, everybody would buy that compilation of the first 3 Paper Mario games. Come on. And if you want to do as a bonus, you put Super Paper Mario on there. Or Paper Mario, no, Super Mario RPG. I'm sorry. Put Super Mario RPG. Yeah, because Nintendo loves to innovate. Yeah, but that's like fixing a cup that isn't broken, you know. So it's, you know. All right. So this is the second picture. This picture possibly addresses my other issue. This game may not know when to fold it. You see, for anybody out there that complains about the overabundance of paper jokes, we're hitting it today. You're expecting a lot from a company who likes to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes to their benefit, sometimes to their detriment. Yeah, that's reinvention and innovation is like Nintendo's. That's like part of their brand. So they throw a lot of they do a lot of let's throw science at the wall and see what sticks. See Star Fox Zero. See, it's funny to me that people. And I think we had that argument before where it makes me laugh that, because even I do it too. I do it where I think the Wii U was a big fail. I think the Wii U was probably one of Nintendo's biggest failures, even though the Virtual Boy exists. But that was like, I don't know, something about that like was never going to get off the ground. The Wii U could have gotten off the ground, but they screwed it themselves. So what you guys are saying is you want another Sonic RPG. Hey, if you do a Sonic RPG like Super Mario RPG, I think people would like it. Something like Splatoon was innovative because it took a simple team shooter concept and did something no one thought of doing, or no one did properly. I wonder if anybody had tried something like that, because there have been like paintball games, but nothing like Splatoon. So this, back to this image. This image potentially addresses a major thing that people want, and it has to do with this guy right here. This character seems to be a partner waiting for you in combat. This could mean that a partner system is returning, but yeah, I'm not believing it. Yeah, Ryan. And this is why I say this isn't a guarantee, but there is evidence. This picture could be spun. This evidence could be spun in a way that says partner combat is back. But, and I forgot to download one of those pictures. When Mario is traveling and not in battle, he often has multiple characters with him. The Bowser wallet. There is a Babam that when they're sitting on the train. There are multiple characters with him. What I'm wondering is this partner-based combat, but when you travel, they're all out with you, rather than you have to take Koops out. So you gotta put Koops away. You gotta put Koops away to get Goombario out. I think they were the same game. That is interesting, because then that doesn't affect anything, right? Aesthetically, it just looks cool, where the character's walking around and I've always been a big fan of that. I grew up with retro RPGs where you had one character on the screen to represent the whole party. So then when you started having RPGs where all the party members were walking around, it was like mind blowing to me. Like Dragon Quest 4, I remember, did that, and I'm like, I can see everybody. So that was always kind of weird. Again, it doesn't mean anything, but from this picture, it looks like possibly, I don't have a button to like specify possibly, there could be partner-based combat. One of the other pictures that I forgot to grab, in the entire trailer, and in the by the way, I forgot to mention the funniest thing. This picture right here comes from a Chinese video. I think it was the Chinese trailer that has since been taken down. This scene in the Japanese and English trailers does not have the toad. So that's something I think is kind of wild. I don't know why they would hide that, because this actually doesn't prove anything. But it's weird that they would have taken it off of they took down a whole trailer because it showed something that the other trailers did not show. Very, very interesting. And I believe plenty of points of Paper Mario have random NPCs on stage. They need to say, yeah, Ryan, and Ryan, and that's why again, I'll say it, this is the last time I'll say it. I'm not saying that that's what it means. I'm saying that it could be interpreted that way, and I'm trying my best to be hopeful. I'll be honest. Okay, I'm gonna step out of video games here, and I'm gonna step into real life for a second here. For the past year, at least, you all know. For anybody that is a regular here, you know I have been trying to step away from this negative mindset. I'm trying to step away from this. Well, it's gonna suck. Well, that doesn't mean anything. They're not gonna be partners. Nintendo's not gonna do that. Nintendo's not gonna do it because we want it. I'm so tired of that negative sort of behavior without any real evidence one way or the other. So I am choosing to be more positive about it. I am choosing to look at the possibility that without getting myself my hopes up too high, I'm trying to look at the possibility that maybe it's gonna be okay. Maybe that's a partner. Maybe there's going to be a whole battle. Maybe there's going to be a whole party system. You know, we've only seen a little bit of the battle system. Maybe there's a party system. We don't know. So I'm trying to do that because I'm just so, especially with everything going on in the world right now, I'm just so tired of the aggressive negativity. So I choose to look at this and say it might actually be a partner system. I don't know, and I'm not getting to the point where I'm like, that's definitely a partner. But I'm just so tired of like, oh God. I feel someone has to be a realist and keep people's expectations in check. People are getting wildly overhyped with no evidence. Yeah, well, Ryan, I agree. I agree that nobody should be getting overly hyped. But at the same time, I also agree that you can't be a 100% naysayer. That you can't just sit there, you know. I say that I think that that's what it might mean. You say that you think it might not mean that. That's totally fine. As long as that's what you think, that's okay. As long as that's what I think, that's okay. What I'm talking about are the people that are going around that are saying, no, there's not going to be a partner system. That's a bad picture. Absolutely not. Like, those are the people that are like, come on, man. Just relax. It's you got enough to be upset about in the world. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that away from video games. But that's just, yeah, it's God. It's okay to dream. And Rocky, it's okay to dream as long as you accept that it's a dream. That's it. But the last thing I'm going to point out, the last thing I will point out for this is that in this entire trailer, I couldn't find any pic. There was a picture where you see the battle menu where he picks a stomp move. I am not seeing cards. I'm not seeing stickers. Somebody tried to point out to me like, oh, there's a sticker icon. No, it's just an icon. I think I need to explain to you. There was a card. Okay, see, somebody told me that they thought they saw a sticker. And then I heard somebody say that they thought they saw a card, but I watched the trailer again, and I don't know. Maybe I just didn't see it. There was a shot. See, I saw that. Okay, so we're talking about the same thing, Ryan. I saw that there was a thing, but what I mean is like that could have just been an icon to identify the attack. I didn't notice because he picked it off the command list. I didn't notice a number counter to say that he had that many cards left. You know, I didn't see any moment where like he won a battle and then cards came out or a shop where like, again, it was like a 2 minute, like a minute and a half. What is it? I actually have the video up here. It was a 2 minute trailer. So we didn't see obviously a lot of stuff, but again, I am erring on the side of hope, or I'm landing on the side of hope. Erring might be on the side of hope that I did not see anything that indicated that cards were absolutely 100% the combat system. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, and again, Ryan, this goes right back to the partner thing. That's exactly what they could have been. Or they could have been icons to indicate what the attacks were and were not actually stickers at all. So I'm choosing to believe that there is the possibility that there are no stickers or cards. So I'm choosing to believe that. Let me have this one. Yeah, there's a shiny boot, but that's the only option he has. No, which Dragoon, that could easily be a tutorial. This whole fight right here, since he's surrounded by other toads, this whole fight here could be part of some sort of tutorial where they only give him one move and he needs to practice rotating the board and then jumping on all the enemies. It could be something like that. Again, if this is Nintendo, I make the crap front and center and the reveal. They have to show. Well, that's the thing. Here's another issue. Here's another issue that I think a lot of people are sort of bypassing. This was the reveal trailer. This was the trailer to show you that the game exists, that the game is coming out soon, and that the game is functional. Nintendo notoriously, and this is something that you can actually take to the bank. This is, you can go back and there's evidence of this. Nintendo is notorious for then having another video or something to reveal mechanics, or they do a direct and then there's a 5-minute stretch where they show mechanics. Nintendo is notorious for that. They've done it plenty of times before. We've all fallen asleep to the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 video from a few years ago. They've done this before with games, so it's not too surprising. So there's a lot of hope there that this is obviously the very first thing. There's a good chance that we're going to see something else. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, I'm not saying it's good promotion. I'm just saying that it's possible. I'm saying that Nintendo has had a history. Because, oh my God, what was the game? Now I don't remember it. There was a game. Because if you're gonna argue the release date of the game, you could easily argue that we only just first heard of the game 2 months before the game came out. So right off the bat, you've got a bad issue there. But there was a direct or something that they did, and then they did like a 5-minute discussion about the mechanics of the game, and it was like a week or two before the game came out. Does anybody remember what video that was? But it was a full-blown direct. And then, yeah, there was like a 5-minute segment where let's talk this upcoming release by whatever. Let's talk about some of the mechanics of the game. And it was like, the game comes out in like 2 weeks, right? Yeah, the trailer just did a horribly bad job representing what the game is actually about, which I'm fine with. Again, Ryan, I'm fine with it because it is the reveal trailer. The reveal trailer, to me, the reveal trailer needs to do nothing except tell me that the game exists, tell me some sort of time frame for a release, and give me a little bit of a tiny little snippet of what to expect. Later, I will take a trailer that has more information, or honestly, just info dumps on Twitter. Just do a thread on Twitter that talks about some of the mechanics that you're going to see with images and clips or something. For the reveal trailer, I don't need anything else. If this was the third trailer, let's say there have been 2 trailers already, and then this was a new trailer for the game, I would sit here and watch it and say, okay, you literally didn't show us anything about the game that we don't already know. Trailer needs to dissuade fears after 2 really bad games that really pissed off people. Let's be honest, though, Ryan. No matter what they did, with the exception of confirming a party-based, a companion system, and really that's kind of it, with the exception of people are just going to be pissed off anyway, and this is and again it goes right back to what I was saying. People are just it's like Sonic. It really is reaching Sonic levels of they could release a new Sonic game other than something that's not 2D, because everybody loved Mania when that was first shown. They could release a new Sonic game and they could show off a bunch of stuff and people will say, oh my God, it's going to be terrible. It's just I don't know. I'm just tired of it. I'm really tired of that sort of negative mindset where it's just going to be bad. Like and it's a bad way to live life, right? And I'm super, super guilty of it, where you've just got this mindset of everything's going to be bad. So when it's bad, I was correct and I expected it. Or when it was good, I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I'm just kind of tired of it. I think it's different. The Paper Mario fans want more than one thing. There's no factions of divisiveness in what they want. It's just Nintendo not listening. Well, it is Nintendo not listening at all. I'll give you that. But yeah, I mean, let's think about it. Paper Mario fans, what do Paper Mario fans want? They want a companion system. They want a more turn-based combat system. But then you got the Paper Mario fans who don't like the paper aesthetic, which how the hell I don't get. You have the ones who they want more characters. They want different, like they always want something different. They want turn-based. You're saying that they want turn-based combat with companions and partners, but you know it's I don't know. I just there are plenty of games out there that don't have turn-based combat and don't have partners and they're fun. I would rather just be for the game to be fun. It's just like hang on. Okay. It's I don't know. I just want to have fun. I just want to play a cute Mario game where the character's flat and it's funny and I want to go on Twitter and not see you all are idiots because it's made of paper. Which is what was happening. That was what I almost literally got into an argument on Twitter with some guy, and that was one of his arguments was that I hate the paper aesthetic. Like, what are you playing the game for? It's been paper for like several games. Even when it wasn't hard into the paper aesthetic, it was still paper. Another example of what you just said, Codename Steam. Codename Steam was actually a very decent game that I keep meaning to pick up and never do. Which I hope gets released on Switch. I think Codename Steam would make a great Switch game. Back when it was first revealed at E3, everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be Metroid, it's going to be Zelda." And the moment it wasn't, everyone tuned out. Didn't even bother with the game, even though it was more than Codename Steam. Codename Steam, for anybody that didn't play it, was actually a really cool game. It was a turn-based FPS with a wild setting. Like, the idea was like it was these historical figures. And like I think one of the I forget if you play as him, but one of the characters you either play as or you meet was John Henry, who was the steel driving man. There's a legendary story about John Henry that he took on a locomotive. Like, he's a folk hero. That's the word I'm looking for. So it has like John Henry. It has his character. Like, there was a demo for it. And then at the end of the demo, you are surrounded. Like, there's these enemies that are you win the fight, but then there's more enemies and they're going to trap you. And then if I remember right, I'm probably remembering this more dramatically than it was, but like the ceiling busts open and there's like an airship and it's Abraham Lincoln that has come to rescue you. And I think that was the end of the demo. If that isn't interesting enough for you, like, I don't know what you're looking for. Like, we're clearly not looking for the same kind of game. It was so wild, and I remember thinking, like, I gotta play this game, and I just never did because I fell off of the 3DS. Like, so I would love to see it on Steam. But yeah, it was like a turn-based FPS where you had a certain counter, and then you needed a certain amount of points in order to attack, or you used 1 point for every step that you took. So then you could move really far, but then you wouldn't be able to attack. Or you could move a little and then attack. Or you could attack and then attack again because you still had enough points. It was a very interesting combat system. Somebody said it was basically XCOM meets Valkyria Chronicles in steampunk US with famous characters from US. They're not from US fiction. It was US history where the characters, it was real history, but they were fictional versions of them. But that was a situation where that game was bizarre. It was wild. It was fun. It was different. It was new. But, it just still wasn't enough for people. Like, come on. Yeah, I remember seeing it for like $5. My GameStop would have it for $5. It's brand new. And I never got it. You saved the Queen of England from Alien. Like, come on, that's a great game. I re-release it on Switch. Please do that. Please, Nintendo. Nintendo, I know that you don't listen to any of us, Nintendo. But in the off chance that my uncle who works at Nintendo is actually listening to this, please release Codename Steam on the Switch. But we are switching to Ghost of Tsushima. So this is a trailer heavy day. We're all of our topics are trailers and announcements. I put this one in the middle because this is probably the one that I have the least opinion on. For all three of these trailers, I am reserving the same opinion, which is that I'm gonna wait and see. Ghost of Tsushima is kind of interesting. I think a lot of us were expecting. I actually really liked the display from yesterday. Yeah, Ryan, I thought this was a fantastic video. I thought it was a fantastic reveal for the mechanics of the game. I thought everything worked really well. It looks good. It looks good. This is one of those games where people were like, what kind of game is it going to be? And I'm sitting there like, it's going to be a 3D adventure game. I'm not really sure what you think it's going to be. Yeah, it's a little hard to see in that image. The game is called Ghost of Tsushima. Okay, so for anybody out there that may be familiar with Japanese, what do you say? Like the grammar. Is it Tsushima or is it Tsushima? Because the video that previewed this game, he was saying Tsushima, where he was putting the stress on the first syllable and not the third one. No, not that far of a. No. Yeah, Tsushima, but which is the stressed? I don't want to put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable because that'll make me just sound dumb. It is Tsushima. There we go. So that's the word. Yeah, it's a little hard to see on that picture. I should probably have gotten a better picture of it. Tsushima. Yes, see, I say Tsushima. I stress the middle syllable. In the video, he kept calling it Tsushima, and I was like, that sounds weird. That sounds like sushi. But anyway, the game's called Ghost of Tsushima. And because like Tsushima, because I'm like, it is a. I tend to say Edo period, but it's not. I don't really know because Edo period I think is before the current period. That's like I think Edo period was like 1700s. I think I'm kind of talking out of my ass there. It is feudal Japan. I think when people say feudal Japan is usually pretty decent. I think a lot of people were expecting this to be a PS5 game. I honestly thought it was going to be a PS5 game myself. So I was a little surprised to see. I think it's in July now. So I was a little surprised to see it. It looks gorgeous. Like visually, let's start with the visuals. It was a beautiful looking game. Like nothing to me looked wildly impressive until you get out to the fields and then you see the grass blowing. You see the way the wind is moving through the field. Like if you've ever seen a real wide open field with something like wheat, like amber waves of grain or something, when you've got a wide enough space, you can sort of see the shape of the wind. As poetic as that sounds, you could see that in the game. Like it was gorgeous. It was unbelievable. But when you're fighting and stuff, you're kind of like, oh, okay, it's like a really, really good PS4 Pro game or something. And then you see those fields and you're just like, oh my God, man, I want to play this on a big screen. I want to play it on VR. Oh my God. Ghost of Tsushima on VR would be nuts. I think I would get a VR to check that game out. I hope they don't try changing us twice. What? Try charging us twice and do something. I think they're going to release this game on PS5. Yeah, would you say PS5 enhanced for it? I think absolutely. Ghost of Tsushima in VR chat with okay. So there was one of the things I was going to jump to that. One of the things they showed off was samurai mode, which was supposed to be it's like a black and white grainy filter, which is supposed to be relatable to old samurai movies. I don't think I've ever watched an old samurai movie. I watched old martial arts movies where they're jumping and kicking and flying through the air. But I don't think that when they were showing scenes of it, like they were showing the black and white stuff, I'm like, I don't think I've ever actually watched an old samurai movie. It looks cool. This is probably awesome if you've seen old samurai movies. Very melodramatic. They're very interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever Kurosawa mode. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen one. Marcos, be right back. Gonna go shower. Marcos, did I say something that got you all hot and bothered? Now you need a shower, cold shower. Okay, I got it. That's good. That's what we do here. Kurosawa is the prototype of most samurai cinema from the 50s and 60s. Maybe I'll like track down an old samurai movie and then watch it and just sort of get. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, so they added that feature where everything is it's a very cinematic look, black and white with this green. The green looks great. It looks fantastic. The character has 2 modes. This is my problem. I had a couple of problems with it, and they were very specific to me. So far, I didn't see anything that tells me that the game is just bad in general. What I saw were nitpicks that I have, little gripes that I have. Number one, I love that there is the ability to choose between honorable and dishonorable, but everybody knows I hate dishonorable characters. I hate mean characters. Yet the dishonorable mean version, the Ghost, was the much cooler looking game. You know, when you're in the samurai mode, when you're in like the honorable mode, he's got the full samurai garb, which is kind of cool. It's got its own appeal to it. But he gets off the horse in front of everybody and he fights them with these one strike attacks, which looked cool. But then they showed the ghost mode and he was sneaking around. He was throwing stuff like to distract them, and he was jumping down and stabbing them and everything. That looked way more interesting. But I don't want to have to be a mean character in order to get that fun gameplay. I think this honorable is just regarding gameplay. They didn't indicate that it affects the gameplay per se. But that's the thing. Well, no, Ryan, they actually said that your appearance will be part. I think they said it was going to be like partially dictated by what sort of path you choose. I don't know if that was just a design choice for them to show the full samurai armor on the honorable guy and then the cool clothes on the mean guy, but that is, you know, it's very much a Paragon and Renegade. It's very much Paragon and Renegade, which, again, Mass Effect was my first real experience with that sort of dynamic, and I had a problem with the fact that if I wanted to see certain things in the game, I had to be Mean Shepherd, and I didn't want to be Mean Shepherd, except when I punched that reporter. She deserved it. Japanese Red Dead. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I think it's just how you handle combat encounters, not necessarily how it affects. Well, no, Ryan. I don't mean that it's going to affect the story. I mean that it's going to affect my character. This is why I say that it's a personal choice. This is a personal gripe because I want my character to look cool, right? I want my character to have, and that was another thing that bothered me about the game was sort of with that look. But yeah, I want my character to look cool. I want him to have the cool wide brim samurai hat. You know, everybody knows the hat. It's like the Chinese farmer hat, but it's like 4 feet wide. I want my character to wear that. But the samurai guy had the helmet on and made him look like a demon. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. The other issue that I had, and this is a very personal gripe, but something that bothers me in multiple games. Splatoon is actually one that it bothers me very, very heavily. Your play style and the demands that you are going to require based on your play style will be affected by the gear that you wear. I don't like that because now if my character has the really cool hat that I want, but the hat adds to a stat that I don't care for, I have to now choose between whether I want my character to look good or whether I want my character to play better. I don't like that. And again, that's a very personal gripe that I have, but I don't like that. I wish I could customize my stats and my look separately so that I can make my character look however I want, but then govern their stats by however my playstyle is and not the other way around. because that's another thing. If I decide, oh, I'm gonna take my character and I'm gonna wear whatever I want, then I have to look at the stats that those clothes give me and say, okay, well, this increases my stealth. So if I want to be successful, I need to play the game more stealth-like. Oh, thank you. Hold on. Yeah, what is that? Oh.
It's called There's No Crying in Baseball.
Ugh.
Mango.
It's crying and beer drinking. Mango beer.
I'm taking your Johnson popcorn.
Ugh. Get him out of here. And when he leaves, tell him, look at that man go. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh, God. Oh, did they say that it specifically dictates how you play, or is it just like perks? I think it was stats. I think it actually said stats, that the gear that you wear will affect certain stats, and then you want to choose your gear based on how. Like I would have to watch it again. It's like 15 minutes long, but it was how you play will determine what stats you need, and then you will pick your gear that way. But that means that I may end up with pieces of gear I don't like, or that I don't get to wear the gear that I want. This is the problem that I had with Splatoon. Splatoon had so many cool outfits, but I couldn't wear them because they would increase the goofiest stats that I did not care for. So I'm stuck having to wear a limited amount of clothes. And you've seen my Animal Crossing town. I've got 600 pieces of clothes in my closet. But I can't, in Splatoon, I can't wear them because I need to worry about the stats involved. And there's no way for me to change the main stats. I don't want that to be with Ghost of Tsushima, assuming I even pick up the game. They did say stats. Yeah, I have to see when it comes out. Sucker Punch is a solid developer. I thought you were talking about the movie. Sucker Punch is a solid developer, so I imagine no matter what you choose, they'll have something similar enough for each. I hope so. I hope that they do something where I get to make my cool looking character, because I like that aesthetic. The big wide pants with the it's almost like the yukata, but it's just the top part and the sleeves are cut off, and that's awesome, man. Big wide crazy hat. Like Raiden times 10, like the guy from the hat. What was it? Big Trouble in Little China. Sorry, that's a boomer movie. But Big Trouble in Little China. I think there was the Raiden character that had a big hat like that. No, Splatoon 2 lets you, every piece of gear in Splatoon. To go off on a side tangent here, every piece of gear in Splatoon has a primary stat and then 3 little stats. Splatoon let you change the 3 little stats randomly. You would have to randomize them, so you'd have to keep re-rolling if you wanted specific stats, but you could not change the primary stat on the gear. And the primary stat was worth 3 of the smaller ones. So it was very important that you were wearing gear that was geared to your playstyle. Yeah, it's one of those things I totally get, but I trust the developer to not mess it up. Ryan, and again, like all things for me, this is wait and see. We'll wait and we'll see. Maybe there will be a way to change the stats that the gear gives you, or maybe there will be a way to customize what the gear looks like. Like, that's fine. So I will wait and see. But this is from the video I saw. These are my concerns. The other things were like the music, for what music we heard, I thought was very good. One concern that somebody brought up, and I think that they brought this up because this was on Twitter. Somebody brought this up, and I think because of Sekiro. I hope that the game isn't one of those difficult for the sake of being difficult games. Sekiro, Sekiro was incredibly challenging. And Dark Souls, incredibly challenging. Like the primary purpose of those games feels like, let's design the hardest encounters we can. So somebody was concerned on Twitter about that, and I thought the same thing. Like, yeah, I hope that it's not my problem. My thinking was that it's just because of it looks like feudal Japan. It looks kind of like Sekiro. It's a similar looking time period. So I think people were just drawing comparisons between those two. Between the material gathering and the die system they showed, I imagine. Yeah, I hope so. I hope you'll have flexibility to alter your things. I think Jim Sterling put it bad. It looks slower than Sekiro, but faster than Dark Souls, which I think was my problem when I tried Dark Souls. Was that Dark Souls was a little too slow for me, and because there's the one scene where the samurai guy uses one strike attacks to kill his enemies. So there may be something. It may be heavily designed around the fact that there are slower play styles, because some people like that. Some people like the really, really slow, methodical. I need to. Every move needs to count sort of play style. Some people like that. So it looks like there might be some stuff in there. I was a little worried at first because that was the first battle they showed, and I thought that that's what the whole game was going to be like. And then later on, they showed some more standard fighting. So I was like, okay, so we got a little bit of a variety there. We still talking about Ghost of Sushi Land. I just watched the gameplay trailer and I can't say I'm excited for it. It looks like another generic open world style game. Steven, yes, but in feudal Japan, so that makes it better. Everything is better in feudal Japan. I think there will be difficulty options. Again, Japanese Red Dead. Yeah, and again, Japanese Red Dead. Red Dead is probably a fine game. I have no problem with Red Dead's gameplay. It's the cowboy aesthetic that I'm not a fan of. So this is like, if this is like Red Dead but with a feudal Japanese aesthetic, that works for me. That is actually much better. I did not play. I'm a little surprised. I'm actually really surprised that not a lot of comparison has been made so far to Onimusha. This seems like if you were a huge Onimusha fan, you're probably already on board with this game. And I have not heard anybody make the comparison between Onimusha and this. Very strange. It doesn't look too terribly difficult. Just be careful, and you should be. Yeah, I hope so. Red Dead also has a lot of Rockstar busy work, which bogs down their games hard. Ghost of Tsushima, what interests me is how historically accurate. Yeah, let's see the historical accuracy of this game. Yeah, that time period might appeal to a lot of people, but I don't care for it anymore. Same for me. I never care for the cowboy side of Red Dead, but the game is right up my alley. I live in California. The cowboy aesthetic is everywhere. I imagine it's like Texas. Like if you go to Texas, the cowboy aesthetic. I mean, the cowboy aesthetic is alive and well there. Historical accuracy, giant enemy crabs. Hey, Ryan, let's be fair here, Ryan. You can't actually prove that giant enemy crabs didn't exist. You know, before this is a fun topic that I've talked about. Before we got to like pollution and bad air quality and overpopulation, back when the air quality was much better and there was more oxygen in the air, animals could grow bigger and stronger. Humans could grow bigger and stronger. So realistically, there's no proof. There's no way to prove that giant crabs didn't exist. Although, you know, they probably collapse under their own weight, but I choose to believe. Like dragons, I choose to believe. Onimusha is more like that. See, I thought Onimusha was more puzzle solving and stuff. I remember I played the first Onimusha. I don't think I finished it, but I played a lot of the first Onimusha, and I remember a lot of puzzle solving and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's the obvious comparison, right? I feel like that's the one thing that people would say Ghost of Tsushima kind of looks like Onimusha. You know, if you busted out a game where it's kind of like Resident Evil, but then you saw a dinosaur, I think most people would immediately say, like, oh my God, it's Dino Crisis. Like, they would jump right to it. Real life battles in feudal Japan. Ridge Racer! But they're in, like, horse-drawn carriages. Oh my God, that's Ridge Racer 0. Ridge Racer 0 is horse-drawn carriages in feudal Japan. Oh my God, that's it. We're doing it. We're get Namcot on the phone. That's right. I added the T because I don't care. Get him on the phone. We're making Ridge Racer 0, feudal Japan, horse-drawn carriages, special guest featuring Ben-Hur. Absolutely. Have you seen coconut? Yeah, coconut crabs are like, I remember I saw a picture of one. It's like it's on the side of a trash can, and it's as big as the trash can. Giant enemy crab. And then of course everybody knows when you've got enemy crabs, when the enemy crabs reach level 80, they're now purple. Everybody knows that. Yeah. So Ghost of Tsushima, it looks good. It looks decent. I definitely want to see more of it. I always want to see more of it. But when it comes to trailers, I always want to see more of it. But from what I saw, I feel like we saw enough for people to make a decision about whether or not they want to buy the game. Like we were talking about Paper Mario earlier. Paper Mario, I don't think we've seen enough for people to make a decision about whether or not they want to buy the game. I think there's a lot of people that are still on the fence about what they've seen and what they have seen means. This game, this video is 15 minutes long. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, which is I think there was enough information in there for somebody to say, yes, this is the game for me, or I don't know, I don't think I'm going to be picking this one up. I think so. Later, Mr. Sonic, have a good one. Yeah, it was a good showing. It was better than that. What was that thing that they did before where they didn't show crap? Like what didn't they have something a couple weeks ago or something, and it was like they didn't show anything important. And this whole video was better than that. It talked about one game. Okay. Yeah, I thought they did like I don't think it was a state of play. I don't remember what it was. I remember looking at that thinking, man, that was well, I think it was Nintendo's thing from a little while ago. It was better than that. But that I don't know. I don't remember. I think that was all indie games. But we got one more. We had one more reveal. It was all, I think this was all yesterday. One more reveal. Let's go. We got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Plays Goldfinger. I would play in the video they played Police Truck by Dead Kennedys, which is a great song. We're getting into that. I don't know what I would play. I would probably play something like Psycho Vision. Psycho Vision was a good song from the first soundtrack. Or Cyclone. Cyclone from Tony Hawk 2. Oh my god, I kind of forgot that song was on there. They are remastering Tony Hawk 1 and 2. It looks like it's going to be one single compilation, not two separate games. I fell off of Tony Hawk, right? I was never a skateboarder. I'm very terrible about skateboarding. Like I've been on a skateboard. I've ridden one around a little bit. I didn't fall and kill myself clearly, but if it came to trying to do a trick, I would hurt myself pretty bad. I think I ollied like 2 inches one time, and I was very happy, and that was as much skateboarding as I needed to do. But I loved the games. I loved Tony Hawk 1. I loved Tony Hawk 2. I was very much a big fan of those games. This is kind of awesome. I'm actually really kind of interested in seeing some of these games. My first big concern was the music. And that almost immediately went away because the trailer starts with Police Truck by Dead Kennedys, which was on the first game soundtrack. I am very pumped to be able to listen to some of these songs. I hope they're more than 2 minutes worth of song. And that's one thing. Ryan, since you sound like you were a fan of the music, most of those songs were longer than 2 minutes, but in the game they cut them down to fit because the stages were always 2 minutes long. Some of those songs were like 3 or 4 minutes long. So if for whatever crazy reason you have not listened to the full versions of those songs, please do so. But I hope that the full versions are on the game because I did hate that some of those songs cut. Like there were some songs that were less than 2 minutes long. So that if you go back and you play Tony Hawk 1, I mean, there's a free skate mode in 2. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the first one mostly. The second game I think had full songs. But like I think Tony Hawk 1 had some sort of free skate mode, or you could just. But then like there was one song that was less than 2 minutes. So every time you played the stage with that song on it, at the end the song would loop again. The song would start over again because it was only that song was that short. But yeah, so that's a weird sort of thing. But the music is there, and I'm really happy. And I would blow a gasket's a bad word. I would pop my top, flip my lid. It would blow some wind up my skirt if they released an actual official soundtrack featuring all of the music from both games. That's it. Lights out. Gorilla Radio. Turn that shit up. Yeah. Oh my God. Like Gorilla Radio was great. Psycho Vision was a great song. Vilified. Was it Vilified? Oh, they said there is an OST. There is an OST. It's gonna be able to play this on Spotify. Oh my God, Tony Hawk Soundtrack 1 was so, we're gonna have to play that. Do I have that? Hold on. I don't have the first Tony Hawk game. Yes, I do. Should we stream Tony Hawk 1 on the N64? What? Yeah. Do it. Oh my God. Oh man, I didn't know. I have Tony Hawk 2 on PlayStation, which is where I played it. I didn't really play it on 64. I don't know how the hell I got that. That was probably a Goodwill find. Yeah, Tony Hawk 2 is the best one. Tony Hawk 2 is the best one, but I did prefer the soundtrack of Tony Hawk 1, even though Tony Hawk 2 had some fantastic songs. Oh my God, I'm gonna listen to that stuff later. So graphically it looked great. I don't know. It's sort of weird. Tony Hawk is one of those kinds of games where I never really cared about the graphics being amazing. Like very, very much, it's about the gameplay. It's about how the characters control. It's about how responsive you are when you're doing the moves and stuff. Like I didn't really care. So when I saw the graphics for this, I was like, okay, it looks good. It actually looks really, really good. You know, I don't need it to look like Ghost of Tsushima. I just need it to look like I'm in a skate park. And I need to be able to tell very clearly that Chad Muska is wearing a backpack. That's it. Because Chad Muska was my guy on 1. I don't remember who I played with on 2, but I know I played Muska on Tony Hawk 1. Another thing that I'm kind of interested about. I'm interested to see how the oh my God, Bob Burnquist. It was Bob, right? I think it was Bob Burnquist. I'm interested to see if I remember right. There were features added in the second game that weren't in the first one. The first one I think had the videotapes and the skate letters, but I think there was extra stuff that was added to part 2. I'm interested to see how. Well, actually, this leads into a bigger consideration. Are these going to be Tony Hawk 1 and Tony Hawk 2? Or is it going to be one game that has all of the levels and all of the features from both games? It feels like it's going to be 1 and 2. But it's a little weird to be co-developing games that are similar, but then put features in one and not the other. You know what I mean? I'm curious, like when you start the game up, I'm curious if there's going to be a title screen that says, do you want to play Tony Hawk 1 or do you want to play Tony Hawk 2? Or if it's going to be one giant game. Because there wasn't really a story, right? There wasn't a huge overarching story to Tony Hawk. It's not like the Crash Bandicoot compilations where you need to separate 1, 2, and 3 because they each had their own story. Like, I don't remember a whole lot of story from Tony Hawk. 1 and 2 both got re-released previously, and 1 had extra stuff from them, like moved from 2. Okay, so yeah, so we're probably going to get the same game. So then the question is am I going to press start, or am I going to press start and then pick Tony Hawk 1 or Tony Hawk 2? That's a weird sort of. I'm just kind of interested to see what that dynamic is, because then when you talk about the soundtrack, if you separate them, you're only going to be able to play Tony Hawk 2 songs on Tony Hawk 2 and vice versa. You know, so these are the sorts of things that I think about whenever you show a reveal trailer. And again, this kind of goes back to the Paper Mario discussion. This was the reveal trailer. There's tons of questions that are going to need to be asked, but realistically, all we care about is that it exists. We have a time frame for it. And if anything, I like asking the questions. I like this idea of we don't know, so we get to ask, we get to find out, we get to, go on Twitter and wait for the developers to say something, or I like that stuff. I get a kick out of that. That's fun for me, not just as a content creator, but as a video game fan. It's a discussion. It's a if I wanted to just play games, I would never look up video games online. I would go to the store, I would buy whatever looks new, and I would come home and I would play it. But I like the discussion. I like being able to sit down and say, do you think this is going to be in there? Do you think that's going to be in there? Do you think there's going to be a little bit of Tony Hawk 3? Maybe will they bring dynamics for Tony Hawk 3? Will they use this engine to remake Tony Hawk 3 and 4? I don't know. I don't think those games were as popular. I didn't like it. I think Tony Hawk 3 was a very serviceable game, but that was where I started to lose interest. And when I played Tony Hawk 4, I just was not interested. Does this mark the return of Officer Dick? I don't know. Did Officer Dick drive a police truck? Because that might be the song in the video. Yeah. So I'm more excited now talking about it than I think I was when I first saw it. Because when I first saw it, I was like, Tony Hawk, I remember those games. And then as I sit here and I think about it, I'm now thinking about all of the times that I played it. Because I was working at the video game store when these games came out. It's funny, but I was working at the video game store, and next to the store where I worked at was a skate shop. So they'd be outside skateboarding and everything, and then I'd be inside playing Tony Hawk. So it reminds me of a lot of that. And then I'm sitting here thinking like, if it's at a decent price and it's got a lot of features, this might be something to pick up. Just if for nothing else, for nostalgia purposes. But I really did enjoy those games. I thought they were really good games. So I'm interested. Tub Thumping in 2, or that sounds like 3, because I did not like the 3 soundtrack that much. There might have been 1 or 2 songs, but that doesn't sound super familiar to me. So that's probably 3, maybe even 4. I mainly played the first one. It's the reason I have GD. I don't know what GD is. G lowercase d. Yeah. So I'm interested. I want to see. Obviously, I want to see more of it. So okay. So that's an interesting thing with the Tony Hawk games. I want to see more of it. But since they're remakes, we don't really need to see more, right? Like, I don't imagine they're going to add a 1,000 new features. Clearly they're probably going to put the stuff from part 2 into part 1. I'm interested to see whether or not it's one big game or it's split into 2 different games. But I don't need to see a lot more, right? Like, if we got the original games just remastered, I think that would be enough for people. So I don't imagine that. I know in the video they talked about how they rebuilt the combo engine from the ground up, but they made it as much like the original combo engine as they could. So I'm very excited to learn some combos. Oh, and there is one thing that I would like to see, and it looks like my stream is struggling a bit. There is one thing I would like to see. Please tell me that I can go into skate park lobbies and there's going to be 20 other people there skating in this giant area while I wait for rounds to start, while I wait for some sort of competitive mode. Please tell me that that the lobbies are just that there's going to be online play with online lobbies that are just giant skate parks. Because how cool would that be to call your friends and say, hey, I'm going to see you on the Tony Hawk 2 tracks, on the Tony Hawk 2 skate park, and we're going to hang out. Especially now with all of this Corona stuff. Also, it's weird that suddenly the PS4 is here's the PS1 library, but way better system. Crash, Spyro, Final Fantasy VII, this, Shadow of the Colossus. Wait, weren't these games already technically remastered in 2012? I don't know. If maybe they were remasters, but they just remastered. These look like remakes. These are remakes. They were talking about building the engines from the ground up. This is a full-blown remake. Remasters are basically just the same games, but they look better, maybe have a few extra features. And you know what, Ryan? I'm okay with the PS4 being the nostalgia machine right now. It's weird. It's so weird that Sony has the nostalgia machine and Nintendo refuses to put Donkey Kong Country on its online shop, on its online app. Dude, Tony Hawk Community Day, what's up? And they're all 12-year-old whiny brats that take Tasha for doing an ollie. The real skate park experience. Now, Ryan, every 15, 20 minutes, will a police officer come and tell us to move along, but 5 minutes later, we just go back? We take that 5 minutes to go to 7-Eleven and get some snacks, and then we come back to the skate park. Let me see. Tired of all the sim sports, to be honest. Bring back NFL Blitz. Yeah, Green Soul, you're not wrong there. Bring back some fun, crazy, goofy sports. Bring back games where I could do wacky shit but still look cool. Skateboard. Yeah, absolutely. Tony Hawk Community Day. I'm telling you, the remasters were just updated versions of the Xbox versions. It's functionally the same game. Okay. Tony Hawk Community Day would just be everyone on that Steve Buscemi gag. Oh, how do you do, fellow kids? Wild Guns and Panel de I don't know if they make up for no Donkey Kong Country, but they're good games. They're good games. We should probably talk about that. Well, that'll probably be. Why don't we do that? I'm gonna hijack the viewer topics portion of the show, and we're gonna talk about that. But you know what? Why don't we do that now? Okay, so this is normally the viewer topics portion, where you can ask questions if you want to do that. You can bring up topics, but I'm gonna take Marcos's first comment there as a jumping off point on a topic, which is the Elements has shown up rating with a party of 5. Welcome everybody from Elements Stream. Can I get you some coffee? What? Can I get you some coffee? I don't know, coffee. What's going on, Elements? Glad to see you. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are just starting the viewer topics portion, which I am hijacking to discuss a viewer topic. Nintendo Switch Online has they announced that on the 20th, I believe, they're going to add 4 more games. It was Wild Guns, Panel de Pon is what it's called. Operation Logic Bomb, which I had never really seen before. I never played it before. And Rygar for the NES. The first 3 were Super Nintendo games. And then Rygar was for the NES. Once again, the drip feed, once every 2 months, of 4 games that nobody asked for, continues. However, these are good games. Wild Guns is a remarkable game for the Super Nintendo. If you bought Wild Guns Reloaded, you already have the original Wild Guns, so you don't actually need it. But on its own, and not to mention, it is a very expensive game. Wild Guns is a game that... Wild Guns is a very, very anomalous. There's a very anomalous kind of game, and I'm going to tell you why. Wild Guns is a game that is incredibly expensive, usually around $200 for just the cart alone. That I would pay $200 for Wild Guns just to have it in my collection, even though I'm going to have it on the Nintendo Switch Online app, even though I have it on my my SNES Mini, even though I have it emulated, and even though I have the remastered Reloaded, Wild Guns Reloaded. I probably keep saying Wild Arms, so I apologize. I mean Wild Guns. I even have the Wild Guns Reloaded on the Switch that has the original on it. And I would still pay $200 just to have an original cart, even though I have no nostalgic history with that game. I did not play that game for the first time until maybe 2 years ago. I have no nostalgia. I never played it when I was younger. I didn't own it as a kid. I didn't borrow it from a friend and... oh man, I got to give it back. Like Panzer Dragoon Saga, I would pay a lot of money for a Panzer Dragoon Saga because I've played through it. I borrowed it from somebody when it was first out. When I finished it, I gave it back and I've never played it again since. But I have a history with that game. I have no nostalgic history with Wild Guns, yet I have it multiple ways to play it. And I am excited to have another way to play it. That's a damn good game. Beyond that, Operation Logic Bomb, I've never played before, but I watched a video of it after they made the announcement. I've heard of the game several times. So I went and watched the video. The game looks good. Operation Logic Bomb looks really good. It looks like an overhead Contra style game with some Contra sound effects. If you watch the video, it's like it very much sounds like Contra. But it looks awesome. It looks really good. Hey, Marcos. I have it, but there's no online. Oh, yeah. Is Wild Gun Wild Arms? Just again, my issue is the damn drip feed. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not questioning the drip feed. The drip feed is ridiculous. The rate at which we were getting these games and the fact that we're getting weird games is amazing to me. My argument is just that these are not bad games. Operation Logic Bomb looks really cool. Panel de Pon, which I guess is like Pokemon Puzzle League. That's kind of what it looked like. Don't attack me. I don't know. I didn't play either one of them, but I'm really surprised that seems to be the game that the most people are excited for, which again, Tetris Attack, which again, Nintendo, pay attention to the fact that this semi-obscure game is beloved by so many people, and the fact that you announced it has driven people into a frenzy. Please pay attention to that and use the Nintendo Online app to start releasing games from other regions that certain regions did not have access to. Translate Terra Enigma and put it on the Switch Online app. You have a gold mine in games that people are not familiar with. If Nintendo translated Mother 3, right? They translated the game and said the only way to get it is to have the Nintendo Switch Online app. People would be furious. They would throw the biggest fit in the world. They would scream, "This is BS. Why do I have to buy this stupid app in order to play this game? It should be released separately. It should be released in the eShop." And then they would go and they would make sure that their online app is paid up because they want the game. They would complain and they would complain and they would complain and then they would buy it because it is just that kind of fan base. This Panel de Pon situation is a good opportunity for them to look at and realize, oh, people actually want, they're familiar with games from other regions and they want them. Translate Fire Emblem, you cowards. Hold on. It's weird that they are drip feeding it because you'd think that releasing the big titles would be more of an incentive. Yeah, absolutely. It's a damn fine list of games. It's a good list of games. Watch them drop the best games at the end of the Switch's lifespan. Potato, that's terrifying. You saying that is terrifying because that sounds like something they'll do. That really does. Oh my God. That hurts. That hurt me, Potato, because that's exactly what it sounds like they'll do. When the Switch starts dying and they start realizing that people aren't playing the online games, so they're canceling their online apps, they're going to say, hey, by the way, we're going to put all 3 Donkey Kong countries on there all at once. Shit. Damn it. What's that? A mobile game? You got it. Yeah, nobody asked for that. Did Terra Enigma have a Western release? No. Terra Enigma had a Japanese release, and then it had an English translated PAL release. Never got a US release, and the Japanese PAL cartridges don't work on US systems, so you can't even just straight up buy. And then there's an issue with the emulation with Terra Enigma, where I've downloaded ROMs of Terra Enigma and they don't work. There's like a patch that you have to put in order to make it work. I think it's because the game ran at 50 hertz. So there's like a patch or something. It's not as simple as just downloading it. It pisses me off because it's a great game. It's Itoi, something mother related, coming up. Oh, okay. So that, yeah, I saw Ryan mention that name, Itoi. But I'm not familiar with the Mother series. We won't get into that. I don't want people to leave yet. The thing is, only the 2 Super Famicom released for our puzzle games, aka the but Elements. There are you have puzzle games. You have shmups. You have shoot 'em ups that never came out over in the U.S. Or even maybe even in Europe. Fighting games. There are a lot other than adventure games, other than RPGs. A lot of games translate very, very well. Platformers, they translate very, very well without being able to speak the language that the game is in. So there are a lot of games that they could bring over. I mean, you talk about platform. You talk about stuff like Spriggan. Spriggan Powered was an amazing game on the Super Famicom. There's a story, but you don't need to know it. Radiant Silvergun on the Saturn was a great game. Unbelievable. I don't know what the story is. I only have the Japanese version. I could not tell you what's happening in that game. I can tell you that I've beaten it several times all the way through. I can tell you that I've been through every path of the game and beaten all of the bosses, but I could not tell you for 1 second what the hell the story is about. I think they find some sort of crystal, and the crystal is the creation of life or something. I don't know. It's just irrelevant. Yeah, shmups and fighting games work very, very well. Come on, listen. We all got a little weeb in us, right? We're all a little weeby. You tell people that the original Dragon Ball games, or at least Hyperdimension, is going to be on the Switch Online, people will get it. They'll want to try it out. Maybe it wasn't the greatest fighting game ever, but it was actually a very competent fighting game. But people will give it a shot. Itoi is a famous entertainer in general in Japan, but he was also in charge of the Mother series. Very xenophobic and hates the idea of any of his work going overseas, but uses a lot of very obviously reference to other pop culture that makes licensing. Oh, he does that on purpose. Buddha. Which one was Buddha? I'm familiar with Shin Buddha, which was the one on the Saturn, which was a remarkable game also. Shin Buddha was probably my favorite Dragon Ball fighting game. Of the earlier stuff, the what the hell is the other series? Buddha was a Super Nintendo game. Okay, so there was Buddha wasn't Hyperdimension, was it? Maybe was Buddha 3? Do I have one of those? I have 7 Super Famicom games. Yeah, I thought it was Super Buddha. Maybe. Somehow I have 2 Fire Pro games. Oh yeah, look, I have JoJo. It's the JoJo Super Famicom game. This game cannot be played without a translation. There's a lot to this game. And then I have Dragon Ball 3. I have Dragon Ball Z3. Focus. There we go. Yeah. All right, so I do have one. And then I have Final Fantasy 5. Ooh, import. Yeah, I wanted to Elements. I had this dream of building a giant Super Famicom collection, and then I found out that Super Famicom games are hard to collect for it. Oh, and then I also have in the box Tengen Makio Zero and Yu Yu Hakusho 2. Yu Yu Hakusho 2. Oh, see? Namcot. That's why I said that earlier. Namcot. I know, buddy. I'll give you some treats after. Yeah, that's in the box. Hold on. I'm jumping back here. Is there any place to read about Final Fantasy V has the famous Wyvern? Oh, I have no idea. I've never heard of xenophobia and xenophobia. Also, how went the game cleaning at 5 a.m. last night? Oh, it was very good, Elements. I have it on YouTube. I'm gonna make that video live. For anybody. Weird time to plug my own stuff. Last night at like 2 a.m, or it was like 1 or 2 a.m. I did no, I think it was like midnight. I did almost 50 minutes of ASMR video game cleaning, which was the first time I ever did that. So I was actually really happy with that. But yeah, it's up on Twitch, of course, but then I have it on YouTube. I just have to make a thumbnail and make it live. Hold on. I'm going to jump back here. Japanese Dragon Ball game names really were never that creative, were they? Emil, thank you so much for the 25 bits. Hold on. I'm going to get to your message. I want to jump back and read some of the other ones. There's this one import vendor that's always at MomoCon that you would love. SNES imports up the ass. I have no interest, John, in collecting Super Nintendo imports that were up somebody's ass. However, that does sound awesome. However, there's no Momocon. So way to make everybody sad. Way to go, John. Fantastic. You brought down the whole room. And quite frankly, why must you fail me so often? Damn it. I don't even remember what we were talking about. The games on Switch Online. There's also Rygar. Rygar is also coming to the NES app. Which if you have not played Rygar is one of those games that is notoriously famously notorious is probably the way to say it. Not notoriously famous. Famously notorious. I love that game. I think Rygar is actually a really good game. Definitely give it a shot. It is a game that is very much going to benefit. Hey Sage, is very much going to benefit from things like save states, because that game did not save. I don't understand, buddy. No. Oh God, he's stepping on things. Hold on, I can't even drink my iced tea because he's stepping on things. I'm just gonna hit. I'm gonna hit enter. That's what he typed. It's M, comma, and then a whole bunch of spaces. You're lost. Oh yeah. Look at the smell of these Super Famicom games. Oh God, that's disgusting. I got an inbox Chrono Trigger Super Famicom from them a couple years ago. Ryan, when you're ready to get rid of that, you let me know. There are two games that I want on the Super Famicom boxed for no other reason than the artwork, which is Chrono Trigger to an extent, but Final Fantasy VI. I am always talking myself out of buying a copy of Final Fantasy VI because I know that the only reason I'm buying it is because of the artwork on the cover. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous box. Oh, I know they have Final Fantasies. Oh, I know they do. They always do, Ryan. And that's the thing. Every convention that I go to where a vendor has Super Famicom games, they always have a boxed Final Fantasy VI. And it's always $40, and I always convince myself that I don't need it because I'm not going to play it. But the box looks so cool. Yeah, Ryan, I'm still waiting for Sage to step on the right buttons, on the right keys. One other thing about the Switch Online games that I don't hear a lot of people bring up is that with companies like Konami and Capcom releasing compilations of their games on the Switch, there could be some difficulty in trying to get other third-party SNES and NES games on Switch Online. I could imagine if Square wanted to re-release the Final Fantasy games, they just make a compilation instead of giving them to Nintendo. Yeah, that's always... later, Ryan, have a good one. That's always sort of the issue with some of these games. You know, we talk about Donkey Kong Country, and like Donkey Kong Country is not on the app or anything. And then the question is, could they be making a compilation with 1, 2, and 3 on it? You know, there's always that sort of speculation. It's always just kind of weird and frustrating. But Emil, thank you for the 25 bits. Good day today, Greg. I just got here, finished watching the final season of She-Ra. I haven't started it yet. And all I can say is that you should get to it before you go on Twitter. Everyone's going to predictably spill everything huge that happens in it. Yeah, I haven't started it yet. I was probably going to start it tonight or binge it all tomorrow. I will, more than likely, I would binge it all tomorrow. But I will probably start some of it tonight just to avoid any sort of spoilers. I don't have a lot of people on my chat. Like, when the other seasons came out, I don't have a lot of people that were really talking about She-Ra, so I don't, in my circle, I don't worry too much about spoilers for She-Ra, even though She-Ra's a great show. So what is this? Sage could walk over the keyboard and code better than Yandere. What is this whole thing with Yandere Simulator that people... I saw a joke about it, about how Yandere Simulator is never coming out or something. HH10IR, hello. She-Ra, Trios, She-Ra in The Princess of Power. It is the remake of the original She-Ra cartoon. It's really good. It's got 4 seasons. I think today is the 5th season. It's really good. I liked it anyway. I know, I get that some people didn't like it, but I thought it was a really, really good show. I saw the ending because I gave She-Ra a glance every once in a while. It ended. Called Final Space. No, I've not seen Final Space. Some really skeevy, slimy guy is trying to poorly code. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen things about that. Translate the OG Final Fantasy 3. Haven't they, Mr. L? I could have sworn that Final Fantasy 2 and 3 have been translated. Not the originals, like not like the NES sprite versions of the game, but I think there are translations there are versions out there of Final Fantasy 2 and 3. The source code for Yandere Simulator got leaked before the game comes out. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the name today. Yandere Simulator. I actually just saw it today, and I was like, what is this? 5th season today. Dan, got to catch up. Yeah, I think it's the finale, too. Wing Zero. I think the show's over with this season. Is the new Voltron show any good? No. I maybe it's okay. I watched the first season of it, and I was like, I don't know. There was just something about it that wasn't really clicking with me. Voltron is one of those shows where I would rather watch the original show than watch the modern one, and it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't for me. That's my favorite phrase, and that was definitely I don't know, something about the Voltron. It just didn't work for me. Voltron is good. Yeah, I don't know. It again, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me. It just didn't. The original feels dated as hell. Yeah, the original, it's great. It's classic. That's classic anime. That's one of those shows that, especially in the U.S., a lot of people talk about, Voltron. I remember when I was Voltron, man. I watched Voltron as a kid. And then these are the same kind of people that talk about how much they hate anime. And it's like, okay, I hate to break it to you, but I got like Transformers, like OG Transformers. It's like, I got news for you. Some of that was anime. Some, Transformers, some of it was Western made, but I'm pretty sure Voltron was anime. It was Go Lion. It was Go Lion first, right? It was Go Lion, and then it came over here as Voltron. Where the hell did you get Voltron from? The ending of She-Ra is a complete opposite of how Voltron ends. Oh boy. Yeah, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm gonna watch it either today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. So yeah, we're a little bit over. Does anybody I sort of hijacked the viewer topics portion with my own topic. So I think it was Kimba, the White Lion. That was the first Go Lion. Oh, Greg, you're a bad man then. Old bad, new good. Yeah, there we go. Old bad, new good. That's the motto. Actually, the reverse would be our motto here. Old good, new bad. Well, that was a good comment. Yeah, I sort of hijacked the viewer topics portion, but I'm favorite Paper Mario song, like the Paper Mario music. I gotta go March Forward. I gotta go with like the first song in Paper Mario 64. I gotta go. That song is just too much for me. Every time I hear it, you know what it's like? It's a jaunty tune, right? Like you hear it and you like, I'll click it, and then or I'll be playing something, and then I'll sort of hear the music, and then I'm like, do I have a game that I'd love an art book for? Do I have a game that I'd love an art book for? Odin Sphere. Odin Sphere, to a lesser extent Muramasa. Odin Sphere. I would love an art book for Odin Sphere. Because the artwork, the game itself was sort of artwork based, since it was all like these hand-drawn 2D characters. I would love an art book for that game. My God, what a beautiful game that is. Hey Greg, mind if I share something with you in the chat? It's a 1-minute video, a PSA about human malware. Oh yeah, you can go ahead. I won't click it here, but you can go ahead. Are you a fan of comics? I am a fan of comics, but it is a time investment that I have never been able to maintain. I love comics, but comics are very sprawling for me. So it's very, I for the main franchises, I'm always very much like, I have no idea where to pick up, so I don't pick up. The biggest problem is that comics are very ongoing, so you kind of have to be buying a new issue. And then what always happens is that you read a few comics. So you're at the comic book shop every Wednesday buying the newest issues. So it's very difficult for me to follow comics, but I love them. That's the thing. I love the comic book characters. I love the history and the lore that goes into them. It's fantastic. There's a great series on YouTube by Rob Jefferson, he's on a channel called Comics Explained. He did a five-part series. My voice is going. So that's why I'm cracking. He did a 5-part series about the history of the Marvel Universe. I thought it was going to be about Marvel Comics, like the business and how it started out as what was it before? Was it Valiant Comics, and then it was something else, and then it became Marvel. I thought it was going to be about that. What it's actually about is the history of the universe within the Marvel comic universe. Like the beginning, there was nothing, and then there was a Big Bang, but the Big Bang was the death of the 6th universe, and then through that Big Bang, Galen came out, merged with the Living Tribunal, and became Galactus. That's when the Infinity Stones were created. That's when all of the aspects of existence were created. Eternity and Oblivion, I think was the other one. Eternity and Oblivion. Life and Death, Master Order, and Master Chaos. Like that's what that's the stuff that really interests me. So that 5-part video is amazing. So if anybody gets a chance, watch that. It's fantastic. But yeah, comic books on their own, it's just difficult for me to keep up with them. So unfortunately I don't. I like graphic novels where they bunch a bunch of books together. Hold on, scrolling back up here. Hold on. Your show is a democracy until it isn't. How do you feel about Chuck E. Cheese? Chuck E. Cheese streaming on Twitch? Should they be showing videos of kids playing in the ball pit? I don't know. I'm gonna look into that. What are they streaming? Chrono Cross at the top of my head. Oh, Chrono Cross for the art book. Yeah, I don't have. I think I have the strategy guide for Chrono Cross, but I don't have an art book or anything. Gotta go to bed before I accidentally get triggered. Later, Nitro have a good one. I think I have an art book for Odin Sphere. Oh my god, yeah, that game is beautiful. I have to get that on PS4. What's the one on PS4 called? It's like Odin Sphere German word. I don't know what the word is. Link to my professor's tweet. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. I'll try and click that again. Can't go wrong with the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog. I worry about getting into anything Sonic the Hedgehog. It's like a minefield getting into Sonic. Abort! Please say Chuck E. Cheese is streaming FNAF. Oh my god, yeah. I recently got the Kirby art book of Sword. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese streaming Five Nights at Freddy's would actually be perfect. Okay, I think since we ran a little bit long, we're gonna wrap this up right now. Thank you. Let me get all my buttons ready. Get it on the right screen here. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in and for hanging out. I very, very much appreciate it. I think we did a good show today. I think there was a lot of there was ups, there was downs. We laughed, we cried, we watched Paper Mario, we griped. It was fun. It was good times. Good times. Very much appreciated. If you're watching this live right now and you have not done so already, please go ahead and click follow. That would be very much appreciated. And if you've got a Twitch Prime sub, you can also use that and sub here for free. If you're hold on. Sorry, I'm looking at my buttons. Also, if you do so, please check the links down below, and you can find us over on Twitter. That is where
your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
HH10, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Follow us over on Twitter. Twitter is where I post I try and post some funny stuff. I think I'm funny sometimes. But I also post updates about what streams we're going to be doing, what games we're going to be playing, if we're going to be doing extra streams. I did like a few extra streams this week because of a few extra games that came out. So be sure to check that. Also, we upload these videos on YouTube. So if you can, go ahead and head on over to YouTube and follow us there. Also, that's where uploads of this show are placed every week, assuming I'm paying attention and doing them on the schedule that I'm supposed to be doing them. And every once in a while, I do something different on there. I put content on YouTube that I don't put here, so that's very rare. But follow just in case I do. Also, we have a Discord channel, so feel free to go ahead and check out the Discord channel. Lots of cool peeps in there. I stop in from time to time. It's always a blast. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you're watching the video of this, also check the links down below. Follow us over on Twitter for all of the reasons that I said. And follow us over on Twitch, where we stream this show Fridays, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And we also stream Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Those are all gameplay streams where we play, retro games. We play some new games here and there. And again, if you follow on Twitter, you'll know that sometimes I do extra streams. This week I throw in an extra stream or two where we played Them's Fightin' Herds, which is a new fighting game with a very, very fun, interesting history. So be sure to check that game out. The game just came out on Steam for $15. It's a very good game. But I did a couple extra streams with that, so check that out. 5 episodes. Yeah, we're 5 episodes away from 100 episodes. That's right. This is the 95th episode of this show. I got to figure out something. Now that I remember, see, what normally happens is I do like episode 99, and then I'm like, oh crap, next episode's 100. I got to do something special. I think for the 50th episode special, we just talked. So I want to try and remember to have something, possibly some sort of giveaway or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see. But thank you, everybody. I very much appreciate all of you hanging out. In these time, for one final note, I know that we're all tired of this Corona stuff, and in these times of human malware, it can be we can feel very alone and isolated. Just remember that the people that you talk to online matter. They are real people with real voices and real ears. That many of whom are willing to listen to when you've got a problem and when you need some help, and many of whom are going through the same kinds of problems. It's the isolation that we feel right now is sort of dangerous, because the very nature of isolation is that we are alone, and ironically, we are not alone in our loneliness right now. So be sure, if you need people, to reach out. Fighting Herds will be online in Evo. I should have brought it up during the viewer topics. Great Soul, I'm going to look into that, because somebody else mentioned that to me today. So I'm going to look into that. But, just remember that if you're struggling out there, if you're having a hard time dealing with all of this, and you feel like you're alone in that, just remember that you're not alone in that. We're almost very literally all dealing with the same thing. So when you go online and you bend somebody's ear about how you're feeling through all of this, just know that you may be alone in your room or in your house, but you are not alone in your situation. So spend this weekend taking care of yourselves, play some fun games, have a good time. If the weather's nice, get outside for a little bit, literally, even if it's just outside in front of your house. And I will see you all next time.